Welcome, everyone, to Podcast the Musical, Episode 3, where we made it to 3, which is very exciting.
We're really doing this.
Everyone involved.
Yeah.
It almost feels like a real thing, even though we haven't released any yet. So we have no feedback.
We really just do this for fun, and we record it so we can just play it back for ourselves.
Yep, screw you guys.
Memories.
Yep, don't care what you have to say. Don't even need your feedback. This is episode 3, and we are talking about Futurama. We have a Futurama double feature. We decided to do 2 episodes since they're so short, and because there's not a ton of music in these 2 episodes, but there's enough that we wanted to do them. And I am gonna go on record right up front saying that I love them. I think they're wonderful. But we can get into that when we get started. The 2 episodes we're reviewing are Season 1, Episode 9, Hell is Other Robots, and then Season 5, Episode 16, which is The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. These are both season finale episodes. And The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, I think, is up there with one of my favorite episodes of all time.
I think it's
Futurama.
got one of the best titles I have ever seen.
Yes,
before.
it's really, really good. It's so much.
Very
it's so
clever
much fun.
title.
If I'm not mistaken, that episode, The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, are also on Matt Groening's list of his favorites, and it's in one of the best of box sets that he's put together.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really good episode. The Robot Devil is awesome. Yeah, so let's just talk about what's your experience with Futurama, Kayla, like in general.
Okay. I have only seen Futurama. I don't think I've ever watched an entire episode. Yeah, I am that unfamiliar with it. It's one of those things that's just sort of on TV a lot. Mm-hmm. So I've seen maybe a few parts of some episodes, but it's one of those shows, kind of like The Simpsons, that is sort of ubiquitous. And how old is it?
1999 is when it was first broadcast.
Wow.
Yeah. But the thing about it is, it's one of those shows that's been canceled and moved around so many times, kind of like...
Family Guy?
Kind of like Family Guy, where it's like, although Futurama is way better than Family Guy, but like, kind of, let's see, and that's one of the things it's funny, and we'll talk about it later. It's part of the quiz. But like, they've moved around and been canceled, and then the DVD box sets have done so well in sales that they have enough money to like make a movie, and then they make a movie, and then the network's like, oh, maybe people really do like it, and then they bring it back, and then they cancel it again. So
why doesn't... I really wish that could happen with some other shows.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. One
few
show.
others
one show in particular.
We could mention.
Yeah. 2 or 3. It's Fox being dumb.
But I bet it's easier to do when you just draw a cartoon. I mean, you know what I mean? Like a cartoon is going to be way easier to do that with, to just, bring back to life whenever you feel like it. There's a lot less production involved. Well,
kind of. There's a lot of, like, I've watched a couple documentaries on one documentary. Can't remember what it is. But, like, there's actually a very long production process for cartoons. It's just very segmented. Like, you don't have to get all the cast and crew together, right, to shoot specific episodes.
Right.
But you do pass around the stuff a lot. Like,
but
so
I feel like
sometimes the production process can be longer than when it's a live shot.
I believe that, but I feel like it's it may have more to do with like the actors, right? Because in that one show with the cowboys in space, they, by the time they made a movie, like all those actors had moved on to other projects. Yeah. And I feel like a cartoon show is one of those where an actor can come do part-time, right? Like,
yeah, for sure.
All those actors have other jobs that they're constantly doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe it's that. It just seems easier to me.
I'm sure that it is.
You don't have to pay for like a set. You don't have to pay for like studio time. And
I'm sure that it's easier on a lot of different levels. Definitely in terms of logistics, because your scheduling is can be more versatile. But anyway, like my experience.
Wow, that's interesting. I had no idea that it was such a. That it was one of those that's been so
moved around a lot.
That the fans have brought back, you know?
Yeah, they really have. And I'm sure that a lot of it is due to the pull of Matt Groening, you know, like with his influence in the industry and having both Billy West and John DiMaggio as your main actors, main voice actors to have such amazing talent there as well. It's not surprising to me that it keeps getting brought back, but it is very interesting.
But again, I feel like that other show, or that other guy, the guy who made Space Cowboys, Josh Whedon or something, I feel like he has a lot of pull too.
Now he does, not back then,
I guess. But I mean, by the time the movie was made, by the time Serenity was made, I feel like everyone was like, oh yeah, this dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, Josh.
I know.
Josh Whedon.
Yeah. It's sad. Let's not talk about things that make us sad.
Okay.
My experience with Futurama is that I love it and that I've seen every episode at least once, a lot of them twice. I haven't been watching since they were airing, but I started watching the box sets, I think, around 2005. Seasons like 1 through 4. And I watched those a couple times and then just kept keeping up with it, and watching the movies whenever they came out and that kind of thing.
How many movies have there been?
4 now, I think. Let me check.
When do they just go straight to video or what?
Yeah, they're all straight to DVD.
Oh, I'm so old school. I said video.
They go tape to tape.
Oh man. Blank space, it's the blank space song. Blank space, we doing some blank space. No, we get bored during the blank space. So Kayla has to sing, cause this is a musical.
Got it.
Okay. Okay.
The first movie was Bender's Big Score, and the second one was The Beast with a Billion Backs, which is a really funny one. And it has David Cross as the bad guy, and he's hilarious. Then there's the third one, Bender's Game, which is a really fun D&D style fantasy one. That's really fun. And then the fourth one is Into the Wild Green Yonder, which is a great one. So yeah, 4. There have been 4.
I'm impressed.
Okay. They're good, and they're good. They are basically like, you know, one really long episode, but they do a good job of tying everything together, and it doesn't feel different. It feels like you're watching 3 connected episodes in a row, or 4 or 5 or however long the movie is.
Well, I should say something before we get into this, or ask something. Really, okay. I need you to explain to me why this is a good show. Because I hated it.
Really?
And I tried so hard to like it, because I feel like we've been doing this back and forth thing where it's like, when it's a show you like, I don't like the episode. When it's a show I like or have a lot of experience with, you don't like the episode. So I tried really, really hard, Josh. I need your guidance to tell me, like, what is actually like, what makes this show good?
Okay.
I didn't pick up on it.
Okay. And I think a lot of this is due to how much experience we have with it, right? I mean, like, I've put a lot of hours watching Futurama, and I know a lot of the subtle things about it. You know, I mean, there are some jokes that you're just not going to get, And
But
you
I'm telling you, I feel like the jokes that I was supposed to get were not good.
okay, well, give me an example.
I didn't write any of them down because I was trying to stay positive. But I don't know, like some of the things with the future things, like hell is in New Jersey. I just thought it was a hacky joke, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like we're also coming in from this is what, like however many years later from when it was made, and like that joke specifically is because Matt Groening and John DiMaggio are both from New Jersey, and they make a lot of jokes about New Jersey being dumb.
Oh, okay.
So I mean that's all that was. But there's so many like little like things that I like. And a lot of the reason why I like it is because there's lots of tiny little jokes that are not even brought up. Like they're just, a lot of them are visual jokes that just kind of sit in the corner and you see it and you're like, ah, that's funny.
Yeah, I mean, I sort of started noticing those, but I also didn't think those were funny.
Like, okay, when let's see, when I'm trying to think. Well, let's just walk through the episode.
Okay.
So basically, what happens is they go to this Beastie Boys concert at the beginning, and this I thought was dumb. Like, I know literally nothing about the Beastie Boys. Literally nothing. I have not listened to a single one of their songs all the way through. I cannot stand.
But it was actually the Beastie Boys.
Yeah,
voicing
it was
them,
actually
right?
2 out of 3. Voicing them, yeah. One of them was busy or something.
They were like, good enough.
Yeah, and then one of the guys voiced himself and the other guy, the missing guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What happened to the other guy? Is he dead or something?
No, he was just busy,
okay.
Couldn't be reached or something. I guess back in 1999, the Beastie Boys were too important for Futurama. But
1999, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, I went and listened to a couple of their songs, and I still don't like them. I think they're dumb. I'm sure that they had a big impact on the music of the time, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? It's kind of... Go ahead.
Well, that kind of counts as our first musical number, though.
Yeah, it does. It does. And a disappointing one it was.
Oh, well, Leela says, I don't know what her job is or anything, but she has this wrist controller thing, and it says, they're hitting the lyrics with an 80% success rate.
Yeah.
Or no, she said they're like dropping sweet beats with an 80% success rate, which just weird to me.
Yeah, there's lots of jokes like that. And then Bender says, I think that qualifies as ill. Which I think is a reference to one of their first albums. They used the word ill on it, non-ironically. And
ill was cool in like the early 90s.
I'm sure that it was. But so anyway, then
You're unimpressed.
I don't like the word ill. They go backstage and Bender meets his old friend from like Robot High School, who is just a Fender stack. And I
thought that was funny.
Mm-hmm, and one of the jokes that I like is just a little thing when he leans over to whisper. The Fender turns down his volume just a little bit. Like
that's cute.
He reaches up to his neck and turns down the volume, and he's like, "Hey Bender, there's some people I want you to meet." So they go backstage, and it's your general like people shooting up backstage, but it's all robots. And it's done with electricity. Electricity is the addictive substance. So I thought that was very clever because they can do stuff with addiction.
But I have many questions about that. I have many logistical questions about this.
I do as well. Go ahead.
Okay. So if you can tell me, do robots not run on electricity? Do they not like charge via electricity or like have wireless electricity, or how do they run?
They do. They run on electricity.
So do they just get high every time they charge?
No, they actually, the way they charge, and we don't learn this until later on, is the way they gain power is by drinking alcohol. So that's why Bender's always drinking. So like he turns the alcohol into a fuel and then burns it, and then that runs a generator which provides him power, basically.
Oh.
So if he doesn't drink alcohol, he actually starts to like look like he's drunk.
So he's not powered by electricity. He's powered by alcohol.
No, he is powered by electricity. The alcohol is burned, which runs a generator, and the generator then provides electricity. That's what.
But it's like more organic electricity because it's from a generator inside of him or something.
I think it's just like with any electrical device, it's designed to accept a certain amount of electricity at a certain voltage and amperage. But I'm saying he doesn't get
high when he generates his own electricity.
Right, and neither
gets high when he jacks on.
Right, and all electronics work properly when they're provided the amount of electricity that they are designed for.
So you're saying it's like just too much?
Yeah, basically. Like it's an overload. It's the whole like too much of a good thing is a bad thing type deal.
Okay. It's also his life source. I don't know. I thought it was strange, and I was trying to figure out so many things. Like, what is the point of Bender? Not as a character, but as a robot. Like, why was he built?
He bends
just
things
to annoy people.
No, he bends things.
Oh,
he's a bending unit.
Okay.
His name is Bender Bending Rodriguez. He was made in Mexico, and he bends things, girders. More metal things, but he's just generally he works like this where they work. It's a delivery company. It's an interstellar delivery company, right? Courier service, and so they deliver things, and so he lifts the heavy stuff and bends things that need to be bended. But also he's just a device that the writers can use to
be horrible. He's a horrible character.
Yep, and he's awesome. One of the things they talked about that I read is that like they can do things with Bender that they couldn't do with a normal person. Like as far as they can explore this idea of a substance abuse and addiction through the silly thing of electricity and robots that they couldn't do with a human, right? I mean, they kind of do later on with Fry and this soda called Slurm. But this is a very, very specific, like, reference to heroin, I'm pretty sure. Just with, like, plugging in and shooting up and stuff. So,
okay.
Yeah, but, like, little things like when Fender pulls the plug out, he's like, careful, man, you don't want to get addicted on this stuff or hooked on this stuff. And Bender's like, nah, don't worry about it. I don't have an addictive personality. And then he just pulls out a cigar and then takes a drink and then plugs it right back in. I thought that was really funny.
I have no opinion.
That's fine. And I have
an opinion, but I don't want to be like negative Nancy.
You don't have to. You don't feel bad. I mean, like I know.
Oh, I didn't think that was funny. I thought
that's fine.
Was, again, hacky.
That's totally fine. You don't have to feel bad. I don't think. Like I know, just because you don't like something that I like doesn't necessarily mean that the thing that I like is dumb.
No, I know. I'm just saying. Well, yeah, and I don't want to insult you, but
no,
I also
you literally can't.
I also don't want to be like the one who just hates everything new. Like I don't want to be a curmudgeon.
Well, I mean, I was very curmudgeon about Fringe.
You were.
I was very annoyed with it. It was so boring to me. Like it just felt like nothing happened. We can't rehash old episodes.
Okay, so sidebar, the next show we watch, we have to both like.
Yeah.
We have to both pre-approve because we need to have more happiness.
Very true.
Yeah, I didn't think that was funny either.
Okay.
But again, okay, what you say about it being since it was 1999, I can maybe give it a little bit of a break because maybe that kind of a joke was not as hacky back then. You know?
Well, I mean,
maybe it was kind of an original joke.
They did do a lot of things that were very new. I mean, and you got to think about like this is one of the, like, after The Simpsons, this is one of the most popular animated shows.
I know, but I feel like that was a joke. That example was a joke pulled directly from The Simpsons.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you got the same writer, he's going to find the same things funny.
Yeah, I know. And
you write what you know.
Maybe I just didn't think it was a very fresh take.
I guess. And maybe I've never really watched The Simpsons ever. Like, I've seen a couple episodes, but it's never pulled me in the way Futurama has. A lot of the stuff just seems more clever in Futurama. And in The Simpsons, I don't know, it always felt a little dumb to me. But again, that may be because I haven't watched it really at all. Like, I've watched Futurama front to back, so I know the progression. And can you at least agree that you probably, I'm assuming that you enjoyed the second episode more than the first one?
I thought it was better.
Yeah. And I think that's, like, just getting more toward more modern joke telling and just them getting better at their craft. But, like,
it definitely seemed much better executed.
It was a lot tighter. And there's just, I like it. There was this one joke where Bender goes in to the little, like, crack den or whatever, and then comes out and is lying in the gutter, and the robot preacher is like, you shouldn't do that. You're going to go to robot hell, and robot devil's going to get you. And Bender's like, listen, do I preach at you when you're lying stoned in the gutter? No. And then the preacher walks away, and that was pretty funny. But then Fry comes up, he's like, who is that? Your mama. Now pull me to work. And, like, John DiMaggio is an amazing voice actor. And
oh, that's the Bender guy?
Yeah, he's awesome. He's really, really good. And so then Fry pulls him back to the office.
I liked that preacher bot, though. I thought he was funny.
He is funny.
He was my favorite character.
Oh. You didn't like the Robot Devil?
Nah.
I love the Robot Devil.
Sorry.
His name is Beelzebot.
I thought that she just called him that at one point. I thought that was really funny.
Oh. Maybe. I mean, like, in everything listed, he's just listed as the Robot Devil.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But
I think she just calls him that because it's like another.
She does, but it's listed in other places as that being his name. So I don't know if that's like what
a funny name.
Fans call him. Yeah, it's clever. And then when they go on that run, and Leela's like, and it's funny to me because, like, before they're all talking about, I think Bender's abusing electricity, and Fry's like, no, I would have noticed. And then it just, like, flickers, and he's like, but I haven't seen anything. And then, so they...
Yeah, is that his thing? He's just a perpetual idiot?
Oh, yes, very much so. He's quite dumb. And he's also from the past. He's from 1,000 years in the past.
I did know that.
Okay.
I did know that.
He's from 1999. And then gets frozen. And so when they go on this run, they've already established that they think that Bender's abusing electricity. And then Leela's like, oh, we're approaching an electrical storm. And Bender's like, a what kind of storm? Electrical. And he just, like, sneaks away, and they just gloss over it. Like, it's so funny. And then he gets out and turns the ship.
What do you mean they gloss over it?
Well, because they had already established that not the show. I mean, Leela and Fry. Like, they just don't notice it. They had already established that they think that Bender might be abusing electricity, and when he brings up, like, when he has them confirm that it's an electrical storm.
Yeah,
then
maybe they should have noticed, but it was, I don't know, they were in a situation that was a situation.
Yeah, I guess. I thought that them not noticing was the funny joke, was funny about it. And then he gets melted into a hood ornament on top of the spaceship. And another one of the funny little, like, visual jokes that they have is when they put him back together, they just have a box down in the corner that just says robot legs and thighs, and it's just a
I didn't see that.
Yeah, so it's like a bucket of chicken, like chicken legs and thighs, but it's just robot parts in a crate. And I thought that was really funny. And then Fry, one of the funny jokes that I like that they do quite often, where Fry says, You're just like my what did he say? Your abuse makes me feel like a big jerk. Like just when my friend Johnny, or I can't remember his name, Johnny, when I thought my friend Johnny was on drugs,
and then he sold me my mom's toaster or whatever.
Yeah, he said, and then he said he wasn't, and then he sold me my mom's VCR, and then I found out he was on drugs. Like, like the selling of the mom's VCR is completely like ancillary to him being on drugs. Mm-hmm. Where when he says that, you expect that that's the clue to the audience that he was on drugs. Like that Fry realized he was on drugs because he'd sold him his mom's VCR, and he's like,
no, we got it, Josh.
Later.
We got it.
It's so funny. I love it.
Okay.
I do. I like it, and you don't have to.
I did. There was one line that I liked. It was after Bender, finds church or whatever. Mm-hmm. And then he comes back and he's like, guys, we need to go to church. I found religion. And then Fry goes, is this another scam to get free yarmulkes?
Yeah.
And it's just sort of in passing, and I thought that was funny.
Yeah, I like that. That was another joke that I liked. And then later on when the professor's like, this would all be easier if he had joined a more mainstream religion, like Oprahism or voodoo. Mm-hmm. And then Bender turns into someone that they don't like to be around when he's not drinking and carousing. So they take him down to Atlantic City and
take me down to Atlantic City.
Is that a thing?
Oh, yeah, it's a Bruce Springsteen song. And this is great because we're in New Jersey and
another New Jersey joke.
I can't really do an impression of this.
Yeah. I can't either because
to Atlantic City.
No reference to me. I have not really listened to any Bruce Springsteen either. Not a clue. Not a clue. So
that's too bad.
Yeah. They take him and make him go back to his old ways, and when he's in the hotel with in the hot tub, which is funny to me, robots in a hot tub.
Also, all of the women robots have robot boobs.
Uh-huh.
What? What is the point of a robot boob? I want someone to explain this to me. What is the function of a robot boob? Because a robot only has things on him, on his person, for functionality, right? Also, how do robots have gender?
They just do. It's part of the AI of this world. I'm not saying it's good sci-fi. Like, it's a goofy take on sci-fi, but like they're applying human analogs to robotic things. So it's like if someone wants to make a robot with a gender, they can. But there are also robots in this world that don't have gender as well.
Okay.
And so
now explain robot boobs.
I think they're just there to differentiate between male and female robots. Because you're not going to put a big wang on the
female
robot
robots.
Men.
Yeah, are you like why not?
Well, I guess they kind of do. Later on, there's a joke where that's where they cut off Bender's antenna, and it's almost like he's getting fixed. like he's a dog, he's too aggressive or something. They cut off his antenna. But
okay.
There's no point to it. It's a dumb comedy show.
I know I'm taking it too seriously, but like I think it would have been funnier if they would have like taken it more seriously.
I don't understand.
If they don't have such an obvious manipulation tactic in the world, like they can just make things whatever they want to make them. Do you know what I mean? I think
really
things are
don't.
funnier when they fit into a logic of some kind.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I don't think I agree. Especially when when talking about a fictional future, right, where we have no idea.
Oh, also,
go ahead.
When we talk about it being a future, I find it really strange that all the people who they preserved as heads in jars are like only people from the 2000s.
Yep. That's well. I mean,
like,
they're not going to try to predict the future.
What? Why not? I mean, it doesn't really. There's nothing happened between 1999 and wherever year this is that there were like notable people they wanted to save and keep around.
Oh, they have that. They have that later on.
Oh, okay.
They have that. Yeah, they have a lot of that later on. But they just don't make any reference to it in these episodes.
Right.
But I don't know. When you're dealing with a future that is supposed to be more whimsical than sci-fi, I feel like it's much more of a fantasy than it is a sci-fi. There's a lot of elements of fantasy in it, and a lot of the things that may be elements of a future are not necessarily played for realism. They're played for a gimmick or a joke, and it's just a different way of watching a television show. Like I don't watch Futurama in the same way that I watch Community. I mean, they're both comedy shows, but they're different. They're incredibly different. I don't watch Community the same way I watch Parks and Rec, and they're even closer together, but they're completely different. And
yeah, I guess maybe I don't have very much experience with cartoon. But I mean, okay, I feel like a show like South Park,
which I really haven't seen much of at all,
does more of the manipulation with the plot than with the actual world. So maybe I'm just more of a fan of that kind of cartoon comedy than this kind, where it's like the world itself, the logic of the world is fluid.
Oh yes, definitely. There is very little structure to this world. It's very loose. I mean, they go to a planet that is populated entirely by robots, and they're delivering a small box of like nuts and bolts. Like that's the delivery. And when they kill humans on sight. And so they go, and Leela and Fry dress up in these really terrible robot costumes. And how would the robots not recognize them as human? They of course would. But it's all very, very fantastic and whimsical. It's just different than watching something that is more rooted in a specific world, like a lot of other shows. Even like The Simpsons or Family Guy have more solid world. And a lot of that is due to the fact that they're recreating the Earth as it exists now. Yeah. And so they have more of a play on that's the way. So like for Futurama, they're looking 1,000 years into the future. What's going to change? Like New York is New York built on top of the ruins of old New York. And so when they go down into the Undercity, it's populated by mutants and the ruins of the New York of Fry's childhood.
Sounds like Frey.
Yeah. It's actually, there's a really fun episode where they go down and find Leela's parents. But so I guess that's what I get. That's what I get out of this show. It's not about the world. I'm not enjoying the world. I'm not even enjoying the characters very much. Like I'm enjoying the tiny little things that I pick up each time I watch it, because there's so many that you pick up a new thing each time you watch it. And I like that. So
sorry, I am just like, for some reason, not in a good mindset today. I'm like out of it for some reason.
No, it's fine.
And it doesn't really help that I hated this.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm trying to be more positive.
No, it's fine. So they take Bender down to hell, and then there's this big musical number about
which was good.
being
I
in
liked
robot
it.
hell. Yeah, we get to the second of the music pieces, and I like it. It's really fast and has a lot of fun little things in it, like one of the lines is experiencing tortures, most of which rhyme, which I thought was funny. The song is very fast, and there's a lot of lyrics in it.
There's good lyrics though. I really liked the lyrics in the song.
I liked how they kind of broke it up and did a sort of Inferno style structure to it, where like the first level is, you know, this thing, and he's like, he takes the cigar away and says cigars are evil and booze is too, and blah 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 on level 1, and then they go down to level 2, and he's like, gambling's wrong, and so is writing phony IOUs here on level 2, and then they keep going down and down and down, and then when they get to the end,
I want to see if these match up with Dante's levels of hell. Let's look for a second.
Okay.
So you have in front of you the lyrics, right?
I don't, in fact, but I will hear in just a second.
Okay. So there are 9 circles of hell in Dante's Inferno.
Uh-huh.
Interestingly, I don't know the answer to this, but maybe you do. Why do we refer to Dante by his first name? Is it because we can't pronounce his last name? Alighieri? I'm not Italian. I don't know.
Alighieri? Alighieri? I don't know. It's probably, I don't know. It's cooler.
To us now, but like I don't know when it started being the convention that we were going to be like.
Well, I mean,
I guess we
would
do,
we rather?
Like, it's really old, so I don't know how old it is, but like we call Homer Homer.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like it's I would rather call him Dante than what would I say, Mr. Alighieri?
No, like you know how when we refer to authors, we often refer to them just by their last name.
Like Faust,
like Rowling, and like
Sanderson, and King, and things. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I shouldn't say Rowling. That was a mispronunciation. I'm sorry, all of you people.
How do you actually pronounce it?
It's Rowling.
Oh.
It's Rowling, and she has said this. It's not like a row, like an argument. It's row, like row a boat. Okay, I think I've got the first circle is limbo.
That makes sense.
Anything. The second circle is lust.
Nope, doesn't match up. Unless you count cheating.
So, this says the first circle is the sins of incontinence, weakness in controlling one's desires and natural urges.
Sins of omission.
What was the second circle in Robot Hell?
Gambling and cheating and looks like money. So lust may fit in on that.
Greed is the fourth circle.
Oh, they don't mention any. They don't mention another circle
a weird classification
until you get
circles.
to 5.
Yeah, this is a weird classification of circles because usually we talk about like who is actually in the circles. Like this one has the liars and the panderers. And this one has the prostitutes and tax collectors. Like,
right.
I don't know.
Right. I don't know. Well, then they talk about level 5, and then they don't talk about any other levels.
Yeah, they just go down to 5. I thought that was funny too.
Yeah. And which, ironically,
we don't have enough time for
not
this.
ironically, that was a funny joke. I thought they kept correcting the devil on his use of the word irony.
And that still wait.
Oh no, I guess no. That's
that
sorry.
Only in this episode.
No,
or
that's
does that come back?
that's in the second episode, not this one.
Oh, okay.
But the Beastie Boys are apparently on level 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he's like, all right, here you are, and then they're like, you got to sign this this little form. It's like, what is it? So it's the fiddle contest form. Don't worry about it. It's like, well, and then like in the robot Fairness Act of 2275.
I liked that joke.
And then they do a whole like parody of Devil Went Down to Georgia, and Leela plays horribly and then just beats the devil up with the heavy golden violin.
Mm-hmm.
Then they escape through the ceiling by stealing some robot moth wings, and then we all learn no lesson. That's the end of the episode.
That's another thing that I thought of that I didn't like, that contributed to me being like, what is the point of this friggin' show?
Nothing.
Because if you're gonna do the thing, if you're gonna say all these profound things about being able to explore addiction with this robot character and make it sound like it was intentional and profound and everything, you didn't actually explore addiction at all. You just wanted a storyline that had to do with going to hell, and so this is what we got.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, but like you said, that they use Bender to explore
addiction. Explore is too strong a word. I shouldn't have said explore. They use it as a device for doing things that they couldn't do with another character. I don't think it's anything profound or supposed to be moving, and I don't think it has to be. I think they wanted to write a funny thing about Bender going to hell and dueling the devil, and jokes about the robotology, which is a joke about Scientology. I think they had a bunch of these jokes, and they wanted to do that, and Bender was a way to get there. And I don't know, like, funny. Nobody gets to say what is funny. Like, what's funny to me is not funny to other people, and that's fine. That's great. It's why we have so many different things. Then I think it's awesome. You can't define what funny is. You can't define what's important. I don't think. Like,
well, yeah, I'm not asking it to be funny to me. I'm just saying I didn't like it. So
no, that's fine, and that's fine. That's my whole point. Is like, it doesn't have to be funny to everyone, and it doesn't have to be profound in a way that teaches a lesson. And I think that's maybe the lesson that they were trying to make, is that sometimes not having a lesson is fine too. You see that a lot in Community, where the whole thing is like, maybe learning a lesson isn't the point. Maybe just we see that people are punished for being who they are, and they have to come to a point where they realize that they don't need to become what other people want them to be.
But see, that's lovely and profound, and actually, like, has some depth to it. Right,
and it absolutely does. And that's why I rewatch Community 6 or 7 times, and I've only seen Futurama once, maybe twice.
Okay.
Like, I watch them completely differently.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Are we going to go through the ratings of this episode, or are we going to move on to the next one?
I say we just move on to the next one.
Okay.
And then we can...
So, I'm gonna pretend I loved this one. Everything I'm gonna say is gonna be positive. Okay?
Okay. Well, let's see how that works out. I'm ready. So we open on this episode, Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. We open on Bender and Fry live together at this point in the show. This is season 5.
Great.
It's very fun. Originally, they both lived together in this tiny little box, like in like when you walk into Bender's apartment, it's just this like very small closet space, and Bender didn't care because he's a robot, and who cares about personal space? But Fry didn't have any room. And then, like, by the end of the episode, Bender's like, well, I guess you could, if you don't want to sleep in here, I guess you could sleep in the closet. He opens the door, and it's like a full-size apartment. And so, that was a funny little joke about them living together. But Fry has his own room, and it's got all these signs on it that say Bender, keep out. And Bender's like, I'm gonna choose to be confused by these signs. And just walks in. Or I'm gonna choose to not understand these signs, and walks in, and Fry's playing this musical instrument called the holophoner, which is, I think, a great idea for a musical instrument. I love that idea. I love that that somehow you can translate music into music into pictures. I love that idea. And Fry's trying to play this song called The Angry Snail, and it's awful and horrendous. And they go to this little recital, and this one kid plays Furlise, and it's beautiful. And then Fry goes up and plays The Angry Snail terribly. And it's like this.
And everyone throws things at him.
Everyone throws things at him.
That's really sad.
It is really sad.
I wrote, poor Fry.
It is sad, especially when you think about Fry. Fry is a very childlike character. He's very innocent, and he's very nice, and he has a lot of heart, and just wants what's best for people. But he's really dumb and has almost no idea of what's going on around him.
Fry reminds me of my high school English teacher, but only for the reason that he was a redhead and his name was Mr. Fry.
Oh, all right.
I kept thinking about him throughout this episode.
That's funny.
Which is weird.
And then things happen that's terrible, and then they get back to the house, and Fry's like, I'll never be able to play because of these stupid hands. And then Bender's like, you know what always makes me feel better? Laughing at other people's misfortune. And then he just laughs at him.
Oh, okay. I didn't pick up on that. That's funny.
Yeah. And he's like, have you ever thought... Oh, go ahead.
Well, then he transitions into this, I have to get better at this to impress Leela. Mm-hmm. And I have questions about this.
Sure.
Because as the episode progresses, it sort of becomes apparent that, like, she was already into him. And he also, like, comes out and says, like, I'm going to write this opera for you because I like you. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he needs the music to win her heart at all. And maybe that's the point. But, like, had there been... will there, won't they tension leading up to this episode?
Yes, very much. There's actually lots of little things where, like, something will happen that will show Leela that Fry's worth being with, and then Fry will do something stupid and that pulls it away. Leela's pretty fickle, and Fry is very sincere but really dumb. And so, like, there's this one episode where Fry eats an egg salad sandwich from a space truck stop, and he gets these space parasites that get into his body and, like...
Oh, he made a reference to that.
Yeah, and then it makes him smarter. Like, they build neural connections in his brain. They massage his muscles so he gets stronger and he's smarter and stuff. And he plays the holophoner in that episode, and he plays it really well. And so Leela becomes very attracted to him. And then then there's this whole thing where, like, well, who are you attracted to? Are you attracted to me or attracted to the parasites? And so he gets rid of the parasites, and that was the end of that. And they do end up together eventually, but it's this whole, like, back and forth of Fry, you're very sincere, but you're also very stupid. Like, can I be with someone who's not my intellectual equal, if not equal, just fairly close. And then Bender's like, well, listen, have you ever thought, because the music is in Fry's head, but he just can't get his hands to translate that. So he's like, have you ever thought of, metaphorically making a deal with the devil? And Fry's like, what do you mean? He's like, well, by devil, I mean robot devil. And by metaphorically, I mean get your coat.
Get your coat.
I like that line a lot.
Yeah, that's a good line.
And then so they go down to robot hell again to see the devil, and the devil says, you have what my music teacher calls stupid fingers. He's like, You probably can't even master a belt buckle. And then it goes back to Fry, and it's a close shot, and then it zooms back a little bit, and his pants are around his ankles. He pulls them back up. And so they
I love that joke.
You
I'm
did?
being positive this time. No, I'm just.
Did you?
I'm being positive. I love that joke.
Okay, good.
I had no opinion of that joke.
Okay, well, I'm going to take that. I'm going to isolate that little clip of you saying that and just throw it in. Just throw it in all over the place. All over the place.
Yeah, Brown Betty. I don't have my.
And then, like, he's like, I'm just going to replace your hands with a random robot's hands. It's like, probably from some of you who've never even met. And, like, I went online to find a list of the robot names that were on that wheel. And,
oh, yeah, there were so many.
Yeah. And
that were, like, you were supposed to sort of catch some of them.
Mm-hmm. And Fry has met almost every single one of them in previous episodes.
Oh.
And then that's when we talk about the irony joke, because it lands on Robot Devil, so he switches hands with the Robot Devil. He's like, oh, the irony, and Bender's like, no, it's just coincidence, you dummy.
Yeah.
And then
I'm going to refer to people who, people like what he is in that moment as irony Nazis. They're much like grammar Nazis. In fact, some of them are also grammar Nazis.
It's true.
And they are just as annoying.
Yeah, it's true. I don't use the word irony. Because I
avoid it.
I just avoid it. I mean, like, I'm a person, I don't like using words incorrectly. I don't care when other people do it, but I don't.
But what
like,
is
personally,
incorrectly? I mean, when you say, oh, how ironic, like, everyone knows what you mean.
Right, I know, but if we, you know, it's words have changed a lot over the course of course, and it's fine. It's fine. I don't like being imprecise. Right? So maybe not incorrectly. I don't like being imprecise. If I'm speaking to 4 people and I'm speaking to one person from one region and one person is from another region, one person's from England and the other person's from South Africa, at any point that if I say a specific word, if it doesn't have a specific and readily known meaning, if it means different things in different places, I don't like that. Me personally, I'm not saying it's wrong, and I'm not saying it's even a huge inconvenience. For myself, I don't like to be misunderstood.
Well, I think that's understandable. But, thanks, China.
What? Oh, thanks, China. Yes. So, and then Fry's hands try to kill him. His new robot hands try to kill him. And I was like, Wormtail!
Yeah.
And then, they get back to the...
Yeah.
I love that joke.
Sorry.
They get back to the place and they talk to Scruffy the janitor, who I think is great. I love Scruffy the janitor. He comes in and he's like, somebody named the Robot Devil is here to see someone named Fry. Like, they've both been working there for like the past 5 years.
What is there? Do they all work together? Are all these characters coworkers? Also, there are a million there are so many characters. And I assume that there's so many episodes of this show and whatever that like the other characters get more speaking lines at some point.
Definitely.
And, like, more plot.
Oh, yeah, there are lots of...
They were totally, like, silent, even, characters in both of these episodes. So
these are both very Fry Bender-centric episodes. Like, a lot of the other characters... I mean, we've got, like, almost 150 episodes or something now, like, by this point. So all of the characters have had multiple... episodes where they are the central character for that episode. So we know a lot about them. Okay. But at this point. And they so Fry starts playing the holophoner and he starts getting great and he starts getting famous. He releases an album that has like 200 tracks or something, but it's only like 30 minutes long. So each song is like 2 seconds long. And you can get the 2-disc set for whatever, and Zoidberg buys 8 of them. And then Hedonism Bot comes in, and
I was gonna look. Tell me.
Well,
Say the thing.
I was just gonna say. I mean, he's
I love that joke.
Yeah, Hedonism Bot is really funny, and I don't care if you don't like him, and if you're.
No,
if you're
I do. I thought, what was he based on? Is this gonna be a part of your thing?
No, it's not. I didn't do this, but I'm pretty sure, and I haven't looked this up, but I'm pretty sure he's based on Bacchus.
Bacchus. That's the name. Okay.
Or Dionysus.
I don't know why I wrote this. Dionysus. Mm-hmm. I think I was shooting for Dionysus. I wrote Diagon Bot. I liked Diagon Bot or whatever.
Yeah, Dionysus is the Greek.
Probably what I was going for.
Dionysus is the Greek version. Bacchus is the Roman version. God of great
wine making, line of ritual madness, fertility. But that's not the god of. That's not bad. That's probably close, right?
Hmm.
Bacchus. Yeah, Bacchus is his Roman equivalent.
Mm-hmm. And he's supposed to be
it was totally him.
Yeah, he's supposed to be the god of plenty and of growth and of reproduction and moving forward and living life.
So why choose him for this purpose?
Because he throughout the show he's kind of put into things as like a person who starts the party, I guess. I don't know. Like he's supposed to be this like patron of the arts, whatever, and he's like, I've come to say that I want to commission a play or an opera, but I've never heard of an opera. So he commissions Fry to make this opera. And I think they just wanted an excuse to use Hedonism Bot. And I love Hedonism Bot. He's so funny. Like later on when he's like, apply the chocolate sauce, and they just like put like chocolate sauce all over him. And it's so funny.
The weirdest thing.
I know.
I mean, I love that joke.
And so then Fry ends up writing this opera for Leela, and the robot devil wants his hands back, and so he does this whole like Ocean's 11-y
whole like
heist.
Roundabout, and I didn't know where it was going the whole time, which was also cool. So I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
I did like the robot devil in this episode.
Yeah. Do you know who the voice is for that?
Probably someone famous.
It's Dan Castellaneta, the voice of Homer from The Simpsons.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. It's Dan Castellaneta. Dan Castellaneta.
Does he also sing? Is that the guy who sings the devils?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He was also the voice of the grumpy snail, apparently, in this episode.
That's funny.
And then, what else happens? Oh, like, so the robot devil gives, what is it? What is it? Oh, he gives Bender this air horn and takes his butt. And then, in trade. And then Bender wants to annoy someone, so he annoys Leela, but that blows out her eardrums. And so he trades one hand from Leela to give her ears so she can hear the opera. And then later on, during the opera, he comes up to Fry and he's like, give me my hands back or I'll take Leela's hand in marriage. And I thought that was really funny. Mm-hmm. And I loved the way they did the opera. Like, it was very stylized, where people were dressed the way they were, but then had those big, huge mask head things on.
Yeah.
And I loved how the devil was portrayed in Fry's opera. And he's just like, I'm stupid, I'm stupider than you. And I loved that opera. That whole long opera and song was really good, I thought. I really enjoyed it.
That was the best part of the show. That was the whole point to watch. I mean, that was the pinnacle.
Yes, it's
I loved that joke.
non-ironically this time. Yeah, and so then Fry trades everything back, and we get a reset, and everything's back to normal. But maybe Leela likes Fry just a little bit more now.
Oh, she totally does, because she stays behind, and she's like, I want to hear the rest of the musical. And then he plays it, and they walk off together in love in his little depiction. Mm-hmm. And then that's just the end of the episode. It was not a funny end of the episode at all.
No, and I will talk about that when we get to the later spot. So that's the walk through the episode. Do you wanna do ratings, or do you want to do our other stuff first?
I want to say two things. One, I wrote lol at Nixon going to hell. Mm-hmm. He's like, I gotta go back to hell. Come on, Nixon.
Yeah.
It's funny. I like a good political joke in a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
And then she sings at one point, Deception's the curse of my whimsical gender.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
What are you trying to say there, bub?
I think he's trying to say that women are sneaky. And
but she didn't even do anything sneaky.
No, she didn't. It was dumb. It was dumb.
Well, I did not like that joke.
Well, I didn't either, and I will stand by it.
Cool. That's all I have.
Okay. Well.
Oh wait, no. Hell is full of 10-year-olds. When did someone say that?
I don't remember.
Someone at the beginning of this episode said something like hell is full of 10-year-olds who thought something.
Oh, it was when they were talking about I think it was just a joke about how every 10-year-old child is supposed to take piano lessons and they all hate it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But they're all in hell because of it.
Because they wanted to trade knowledge for no work. Or they wanted the knowledge without the work, but hey everybody, just jumping in here to say that due to the nature of our recording schedule and where we live, I have to record early in the morning at my school before anybody shows up. So if our recording session runs a little bit long, we have to break it into 2-day chunks so that I can still get a quiet room for recording. And that's what happened today. So if it seems a little abrupt, that's why we stopped and broke it into this next part coming up. And we do a little bit of a pre-show where Kayla and I just kind of talk to each other and get geared up for the episode. And this one had some really good content in it, and so I left it in. So that's why there's a little bit of a disconnect between parts 1 and 2. I hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Thanks.
Sociolinguistics is an interesting field, and I like to talk about it over a glass of wine.
To anyone in particular, or just your imaginary friend across the glass of wine?
No. Well, to my imaginary friend across the ocean and an entire very large continent.
Wait, I'm imaginary?
Well, I mean, you're not like
present.
Physical and you're not present. Yeah.
I've shown you Bob's Burgers, right?
Okay. We should have a conversation about Bob's Burgers.
I love Bob's Burgers so much.
I know you do, which means that I should watch it and like it. And I know
that's
that
not
there's
true.
A musical
that's
episode.
Not true.
Well,
just because
clearly
I like something,
it has been shown in this instance of Futurama.
You know what we should do is only do one episode, but watch it together.
Oh, at the same time? Mm-hmm. Podcast live or what?
Oh, we could do that too. Ooh, a commentary episode. That could be really fun.
We gotta wait for that. We gotta establish a rapport first.
Yeah, for real. But, oh man, do I love Bob's Burgers. It's so... I
have heard it is one of the very... I mean, I feel like a lot of people like Futurama, but I feel like more people are say that Bob's Burgers is not high art, but like high cartoon, like high TV. Do you know what I'm saying?
It really is. And it's not because it's incredibly clever, although it is in some points, but it's just kind of like my cartoon Parks and Rec, where like I watch it and at the end of the episode, I just feel delighted with the world around me. Like it's so uplifting, and the family itself has such a good dynamic, and you feel that they really care about one another, even though they're being put through cartoony situations. The family themselves, they love each other and have interesting dialogue and things. And there's the voice acting is incredible. It's so funny. There's an episode where there's a bank heist, and they're watching out the window because the bank's across the street, and this news van rolls up, and it's like Channel 4 News, and Gene's like, Channel 4 News, they'll figure anything with a pulse. And like, and Bob's like, I think they've got their finger on the pulse. And Gene's like, no. Pretty sure it's not. Like,
that's funny though, because, you know, like finger is a verb in a way that's not dirty too.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You can be fingered in a crime.
Exactly. And it's
like, could work.
It
like,
could work.
She could be sort of right.
It's so funny. Gene's like, the only girl that's female in it, like the voice, is Louise, who is Kirsten Shaw from Flight of the Conchords, and she's hilarious.
She's a commentator on Daily Show, and I love her.
She's brilliant. She's so funny. Her stand-up is hilarious. I love her. It's so biting, like, but also kind of like self-deprecating in a really refreshing way. Not like in a like, oh, I'm just a dumb woman trying to make it in comedy. Feel bad for me. Like, and I'm like, she's really genuinely very funny. Like, and I saw a clip of her on Conan once and talking about how she had a crush on a boy and was like, they were sitting on, like, in the back of the bus and he was like, and the boy was like, oh, do you remember that time when, I said this and this and this to you? And she's like, yes, I do. I remember everything you've ever said to me. And then proceeded to tell him everything that she said. And then after that, it's like, we didn't make it. Like,
oh,
she's so funny. She's so very funny. I love her so very much. She's one of my favorite female comedians. And she doesn't sell out for she's just funny. She doesn't try to make concessions for her comedy. Like, she is just funny. Like a lot like Tina Fey or Melissa McCarthy or like a lot of the people who are just funny, like male and female. Oh man.
I love Parks and Rec more than freaking anything.
I do too. It makes me so happy.
That is one recommendation that I'm like, you nailed it.
Oh,
you nailed it.
So good. And I think part of it is that, like, you can kind of tell genuinely that the cast truly love each other and love working together.
There is one of the writers I just listened to one today. She's a guest sometimes on the Gilmore Guys podcast. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's, for me anyway, like such a show that has come so close to my heart, is because it has a lot of female writers, and they write about feminism in a way that is like very accessible for everybody, you know, and in a way that's funny still, you know. It's like they prove that you can make comedy that is not at the expense of women. And I think that is...
Or at the expense of anyone, really, except for Jerry, I suppose. But, like...
that's the one part of the show I don't like, is everybody shits on Jerry all the time. Jerry.
I kind of like it because it's like... His work life is terrible. I love that it's
equal opportunity. I think it's really hilarious.
Yeah, his work life is terrible, but then you see his home life is the best thing in the world.
And they had to put that in. They had to do that because that's the only redeeming thing about the situation.
Yeah.
But I really love when Leslie hates on Jerry. She hates on Jerry the best because she's the nicest person ever to everyone ever.
Except Jerry. And salads. And calzones.
And salads, yes. Anyway, okay.
We should talk about
Futurama.
Futurama. Yes.
I like talking about things I like, not things I hate.
I agree. Which you can now you know how I felt about talking about Fringe.
Oh, and you had watched it twice. I can't believe you put yourself through that twice. If you hated it so much the first time, I could not do that with Futurama.
I did, but like the crazy thing is, I enjoyed it more the second time. It wasn't much more, but I did enjoy it more the second time. Where did we leave off?
You're more dedicated to this podcast than I am. Hence, you're like up up doing a podcast after being out till 4 a.m, and I'm like half a glass of wine in.
Where did we even stop?
I think we finished the episode. We finished our discussion of the episode, and we were going to move on to our quiz and stuff.
Yes. All right, let's see. All right, it's time for music illusions. Music illusions. Track that reference. All right, well.
What do you got?
What do I got? Well, all right, number 1. Oh, and I should probably I'll keep score for you as well.
Thanks.
Number 1, when Fry and Leela go they walk through that place, the
hell?
Well, yes, but to get there, they walk through like a theme park.
Uh-huh.
And then they walk through on the bottom of like the wall is scrawled HS, the letters HS and then the number 4 and then MB. What is that a reference to?
I feel like it reminds me of the scratchings on the Tower of Terror or the Tower of Horrible Torturing that is in London. But I think that's HRS. HS makes me think of high school. Mm-hmm. High school number 4. What was the other letters?
MB.
High school number 4, Mennonite Brethren.
No, false. It's Homer Simpson for Marge Bouvier.
How the hell was I supposed to know that?
I don't know. I mean, it's.
You didn't know that, did you?
It's graffiti. Well, I mean, like, no. but I didn't notice it in the episode. Like, if I.
What's the 4 for?
4. It's like when you carve your initials in a tree and say, J.R. loves whoever. Like.
Yeah, you say loves. You don't say 4.
Yeah, I don't know why it's 4. That's dumb.
They just wanted to make it more cryptic.
Yep, probably. It's dumb. Scratching it out. Doesn't count. Stupid.
Hooray!
I'm pulling a redacted. I'm retconning this test. All right. When they go down to the thing and they have a fiddle contest with the robot devil, what's in that reference to?
Devil Goes Down to Georgia. You said this earlier.
I did, but by whom?
I don't know. Some really great fiddle player somewhere in the world.
No. The song itself is
by Chris Thiele.
It's Charlie Daniels Band.
Oh, all right.
Or the Charlie Daniels
One
Band.
hit wonder.
Apparently. When Bender gets that symbol on his chest, the symbol of robotology, what is that symbol?
Mm-hmm. Harry Potter's lightning scar.
That'd be great. No, it's the symbol for a resistor in electrical diagramming.
Your questions are too hard for a layperson.
Well, I'm sorry. They didn't give me a whole lot to work with.
Oh, I guess that is true.
At the beginning of each episode, they have when the ship flies through the title screen, they have a little tagline at the bottom. And now I'm talking about the second episode. Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. At the title screen, it says, "See you on some other channel." Why?
Oh yeah, I thought that was weird. You're asking me why?
Mm-hmm. What is that a reference to?
They changed channels, or the fact that they changed channels a lot because they get canceled and then picked up by like UPN or whatever, like Twilight did.
Twilight.
Is that right?
Twilight. Sorry. Yep. I remember about that and Twilight and things. You're actually kind of right, but also kind of not. So the first 5 seasons were all on Fox, okay. And they thought that they were going to get canceled at the end.
Oh, I'm close enough.
Oh no, I'm gonna give you the point. But they thought they were going to get canceled, so they put that there, as a joke. Like, we think we're gonna get canceled, see you on some other channel, but they didn't know they were getting picked up by anybody. But then, when they got canceled, they then made the first movie and then got picked up by, Comedy Central, I believe. So that's that.
Where are they now? Is the show still on? I don't even
know.
No,
it's over now.
Oh, okay. Where was the last episode aired?
Comedy Central, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was Comedy Central. What was the video game, in the Holophoner, edition of Fear Elise, what was the video game they referenced?
See, now this is a quiz just that tests how well I know the episode. Or how well I was paying attention.
It's true. They did show it twice.
Oh, Donkey Kong.
Yeah, good job.
Woohoo!
Donkey Kong. The deal with the devil, like specifically the deal with the devil of swapping hands, what is that a reference to? You'll never get this, I'm sorry. I would never get this either. I looked it up.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm not.
Because we had a discussion earlier about how this is pretty Faustian, this episode.
It is Faustian. But specifically with the hands themselves are a reference to something.
Okay, give me the question again, but with the hands clue in there.
Okay, so the swapping of hands, or the giving of the devil's hands, or the giving of hands, or a hand, with specifically the devil returning for his due, is a reference to what film, I'll say.
Can you give me another clue? When was the film made?
I think it was 1938, but I will check it up.
Like, is it a Russian film?
I don't know. Check.
Does it have a Russian name?
No. It's actually Finnish in 1962.
1962?
Wait. No, that's wrong too. Dang it.
I don't know.
Well, it's a movie called Carnival of Sins. Or Sinners. What is it? Sins?
Well,
Sinners?
that sounds like
Sinners.
something...
Carnival of Sinners.
I feel like
it's
that's
French.
like somehow... It's French,
Mm-hmm.
oh.
1943, actually. Roland Brissot bought for a nickel a talisman that gives him love, fame, and wealth. The talisman is a cut left hand and works perfectly, but of course there is nothing free in the world, and after 1 year the devil comes and asks for his due.
Huh. So the devil observes the calendar year. Interesting to know.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Always
okay.
good to be prepared. And
do you know the next episode you're getting really effing hard questions?
do I?
Because that's what you're giving me.
Oh, yes. I hope so. That's all. That's all of them. That's it. That's the only things I could find.
Really? You were the one touting all the cool like background references that this show gives.
Yeah, but a lot of them are go back to other things in previous episodes, and there's lots of little stuff. I mean, there was one like, okay, above the robot preacher when Bender's doing his baptism ceremony. There's a sign that says, what does it say? 10 something 20 go to hell. Do you know what that's a reference to?
10 something 20 go to hell?
Yeah, it's...
Is it a reference to Monopoly?
Nope. It is... It's the formatting for BASIC scripting language. Like the scripting language BASIC. I mean, it
says go to hell on it?
Mm-hmm, that's what it says. 10 sin, 20 go to hell. Which is a basic computer language. Or a basic language computer program. It's a specific computer program.
Okay.
It's little stuff like that, I guess.
Okay.
The title...
I don't know if I don't know if those are jokes so much as they are, like, Easter eggs, almost.
Yeah.
Because you can't, like, you know...
Unless
like,
you literally know what they are.
No passing person, even if... I feel like something like that, I mean, I'm not familiar with it, but I feel like even if you do know that coding language or whatever program, whatever it is, that's just going to whoosh right past you, I think. I mean, I think it's like, we're going to put things in only for dedicated watchers.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
Interesting. Well,
so that's it.
That was a hard quiz. So.
It was a hard quiz. It was a hard quiz to make. But feel free to make the next one hard, which is also going to be super tough because we have no idea what we're doing next. But we can we can talk about that later. Tropes and themes.
Themes and tropes.
Themes and tropes. Tropes and themes. Themes and tropes and themes. The first one, I guess I really only want to talk about the musical theme.
Okay.
I
didn't write anything down. I'm trying to remember what it was like.
It was, I'm trying to think of what this genre of music is called. It's not big band, but it almost is. It's like, it's, you know, big.
It's like big band,
brass,
but if it was on a
section.
musical stage.
Yeah. Brass section. And also, it's not like not swing big band. It's different. I mean, like, the song's like, bum 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 bum.
Yeah, it's like big.
Yeah.
Or sing, or whatever that song is actually supposed to be. The Chips Ahoy commercial.
That's exactly what I thought, too! Literally.
Well, that's that song, though. That's that song. And that's why I don't know if it's big, 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 or sing, sing, sing.
I think it's sing, sing, sing.
Sing, 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 sing. I think that's what it is.
Then that's
but
why
Chips Ahoy commercial made me think it was big because they were advertising how big the chocolate chips in their cookies were. Don Draper commercial.
So yeah, that's that one. And then the second one obviously has a very operatic theme to it. Because it's Fry writing an opera. And
but it's not, I mean, I feel like it wasn't quite an opera. I feel like
it wasn't a Wagner.
Like a musical. It was like a musical, I think. It was, or like, I don't know, an opera. I don't know what an operetta is. I shouldn't say that.
Isn't it just like a small opera?
Yes. Like a novella.
Yeah, exactly. An operette. TTE.
Aretta.
Yes, I'm sure. I don't know.
ETTE. ETTA.
I was making it French instead of Italian.
How dare you?
I should be burned at the stake.
With mahogany. They say... I don't...
What?
I don't.
What words are you saying?
I think I've crossed the side of tipsy and I've moved into slightly intoxicated.
That's a good line to ride. If you just stay right about there,
now.
That's good.
But I need to stop because now I can't even really think of like words. And if you're doing a podcast, you should be able to think of words. Necessary skill.
One thing that the music kind of reminded me of was, you're right, it wasn't an opera and like, it wasn't Deflator Mouse, right? But it reminded me more of, the Bugs Bunny opera episode. That episode of Bugs Bunny where they do that opera.
The reason I say it's not opera is because the women were not singing as if it were opera. So I feel like the way men sing is a very similar, relatively similar, between opera and musical. You know, sometimes they may throw a little bit more pop in there, but like they unless they're singing like contratenor or something, they're gonna be using the same muscles, using the same skills. But I feel like, you know, operatic women is where the differences really are. The way women sing.
They put a little more stank on it. In
an opera they sing a lot higher.
That's true.
So maybe the way I'm looking at it is like difference in technique. And also they were singing very narratively, and I feel like in an opera it takes more time to be like, okay, this is an aria, so the girl will have a lot of runs.
I confess that I have never seen an opera like live. Like I've
only ever seen one, so
I've seen clips and stuff of like Deflator Mouse and
Yeah, but you've sung
Rigoletto
quite a bit of
and-
opera. I mean, you were in voice lessons, and that's what you sing in voice lessons.
Yeah, but those are just, single pieces, right? You don't get to
but you
see
get
the
an
story come
experience with
together.
it.
Yeah.
True. That's true.
So, like, you sing one song, you're in, you're out. There's no transitional stuff.
It's funny that you say about the story because the only opera I've ever seen was in Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Mm-hmm.
And so, since the opera was in German, but they had subtitles on a screen, they can do this now with operas. It's very cool. So like,
But the
up above the
subtitles
stage,
were in-
the subtitles were in Spanish.
In Spanish.
And I mean, I could speak Spanish. And at the time, I was doing okay, but like, there were a lot of things that I was just like, I have no idea what's going on here. She's crying, and I don't know what about.
And I think that's one of the things.
Like I've sort of seen an opera.
That whenever people, like, whenever opera apologists talk to me about opera, it's always like, yeah, but you shouldn't have to know the words. Like, the music should move you through the story, and the actors should be able to pull you along.
Well, I think that really, they just don't want to say that there's often not very much substance to the story.
The story, I'm sure, especially if they're
It's because that's not the point, really.
right, and they're doing ones that are several hundred years old, like.
Yeah, but I mean, there are ballets that are several hundred years old and they do it with contemporary choreography, and you can get the story from the ballet. But I feel like with I don't know, and I shouldn't say this because I'm going to piss off people who like operas, but
None of them are listening to this show. They're off listening to operas. They don't care about us.
People who like operas don't like Futurama. Let's just say the Venn diagram of people who like is just two circles.
Two circles.
People who like operas, people who like Futurama. Two circles very far apart.
Very far apart.
So, yeah, screw operas.
Yeah. Thanks, China.
Thanks, China, for the operas. Yeah. Well, thanks, China is usually what we say when we want to stop talking about what we're talking about. So let's move on to something else.
Okay. DDR Dance Report is our next.
DDR Dance Report.
Not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot of dancing. Can't think of any.
I mean, there was
good job, guys.
They're
cartoons.
They're cartoons. It's not a. I liked. I mean, I guess we can kind of translate the dancing into blocking and staging, and the way the songs are laid out. Which we talked a little bit about how in the first song they kind of went through a couple circles of hell. And they had different people and
movements.
Different movements and stuff in there, and I thought that was fun. And then
they moved some arms.
And then in The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, the movement through the different stages of Fry's opera was really, really fun. Mm-hmm. But other than that, yeah, not a whole lot of singing or dancing.
Yeah, I think Fry never sang.
He does in the first one, but it's more like talking.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's not awesome.
I think we're gonna find that. I think we're gonna find that a lot of characters who have either probably in behind the scenes said I don't really want to sing very much. They've been given sing talky lines, or it's a situation where they're they tried to have that person sing and then they realized that person can't sing, and so they came up with, how about you sort of speak it in rhythm? Won't that be fun?
Yeah, pretend you're one of the Beastie Boys.
Don't you remember that musical episode of Futurama? Be like that.
Be like that. Come on, you've seen it.
Be like a Beastie Boys floating head.
At one of their concerts. I was trying to think of a joke about Nixon's head, but I couldn't think of a joke other than the fact that Nixon's head is really funny just by itself.
I don't want to be like Nixon's head.
Yep.
Really?
Who could make it is our next section.
The devil.
What?
The robot devil could make it.
Mm-hmm. Also, I don't know about Katie Seagal, her actual stage presence or whatever, but I think she's got an okay voice. Probably
I wasn't very impressed. Let's talk more about the robot devil
stuff.
I think the robot devil could play the devil
in just about anything that has a devil.
I want him to play the devil in Damn Yankees.
Uh-huh.
Or the devil and I'm sure there's a musical about Faust, because often there's musical about,
very much so.
Written works that are as old as Faust. And he could play the Phantom in Phantom of the Opera, and he could play Jekyll in Jekyll and Hyde, or whichever one is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde is the bad one. He could play Hyde.
He could play Ripper in the Psych musical Jack the Ripper.
Yeah. So.
Long story short, not a whole lot of
Evil
people.
thing.
Yeah.
We're just typecasting him. We don't. He could not play friggin' someone nice.
It's true. Like,
He
could,
he could not play Joseph Gordon-Levitt's part in Angels in the Outfield, because he's like sort of an angel kid. He could not play that.
He could not play that. He could not play, the little kid in Les Mis, because he's a little
Gavroche?
Yes, a little angelic figure. Gavroche sounds like a character from World of Warcraft.
Oh, I should say it more French. Gavroche.
Gavroche.
Whatever. Okay. He couldn't play Bender in this episode when Bender turns into an angel and flies out of hell.
It's true, because because he was playing the robot devil in this very episode and could not be in two places at once.
Could not do it.
Ratings. Let's move on to ratings.
I was having fun with this.
Oh, okay. Well, we can go back. He could not play
Space China!
the Surrey in Surrey with a Fringe on Top. He could not play the spinny set in Les Mis.
Spinny set.
You know, in the bigger productions of Les Mis, they always put the barricade and side pieces on a turnstile so they can lock them together and spin around so you can see both sides of the barricade and stuff.
I guess I have seen some low-tech versions of Les Mis.
I mean,
he could not play the shoes in Wizard of Oz. He could not play Toto in Wizard of... He could not...
He could not...
the beans into the woods.
Into the woods. He could not with a pot or with a pan, with a shoe or with his hand. So ratings.
He could not with his hand because he lost his hand. Great way to bring us back, Josh.
Thanks,
China.
What's your ratings? Discuss.
Oh.
Ready, go. Take
no.
Why don't we just do this? Just rate the second one. I will definitely rate the first one lower than the second one, and the second one's the one I wanted to do anyway. So
you're gonna rate? Are you gonna rate both of them? Because I could rate both of them, or I could rate them together, or I could rate just the second.
I was just gonna rate the second one. I think it's more musically and more appropriate.
Okay. Well, I can't really separate the second one from the first one because I literally watched them back to back.
Okay. Well, then go, you know what? Rate them together. Go for it.
Together as a single coherent piece, they don't work at all.
Drum roll.
I rate it. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 10 robot boobs.
Isn't that like 9 out of 20?
Okay, if you want it to be.
Well, I don't know. Or are we doing them in pairs, or are there 5 robots?
9 out of 20. They each get 4. Well, do you want me to? Okay.
I was just making a joke that robots have 2 boobs. Yeah.
That wasn't a very good. I love that joke.
Let's see.
I don't know what I rate it. I rate it bad. I rate it very low.
I rated a big old stinky thumbs down. I don't know. Like, In terms of a musical episode, which is what I'm going to rate it, I'm not going to rate it on terms of like a Futurama episode. Because the second one, if I rated it in terms of a Futurama episode of ones that I like, I would rate it pretty high. I think it's interesting. It has a fun.
Nope. I need you to rate it against musical episodes that
that I have seen
of the world.
Musical episodes of the world, I give it a 5.
Wow,
yeah.
Josh, that's lower than you rated Fringe.
I know. I don't think it's a good musical episode.
Okay.
I think it's a good.
Not enough music.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's got one song, and the song's good, but it's not enough to hold up the whole episode. I think it's a great episode of Futurama, but I don't think it's a very good musical episode. I give it 5 out of 10. Onions in the minibar. Did I not talk about that? I have it in my notes. Okay. Well, let me talk about that. When the robot devil drags Bender out of the hotel room, like the minibar's open and there's just like 2 onions sitting in the door. And it was just something that I noticed and I thought was weird. So I wrote it down.
Okay. Robot boobs and onions in a minibar.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a graphic novel.
Sounds like a terrible graphic novel.
I have derailed. I have officially derailed.
That's fine. We can keep derailing. Speaking of graphic novels, have you read Saga?
Nope.
Oh
Never
my
heard of it.
goodness, you would love Saga. It's so good. Did you read Y the Last Man? I know Brian and I have been trying to pitch it to you for like ever.
No, you haven't.
We haven't?
No. You've been pitching Wheel of Time to me. You have been pitching the other one to me.
Well, I mean just specifically graphic novel. Y the Last Man's written by Brian K. Vaughan. And it's really interesting and really, really good. It's about, there's this cataclysmic event, something happens and that wipes out every mammal thing with a Y chromosome, on the planet at once. Except for one guy and one capuchin monkey.
Sounds like Children of Men, but the opposite way around.
I've actually never seen Children of Men. I've heard good things, but I just never gotten around to it.
Well, I've never seen it either, but I think the premise is women can't get pregnant anymore, but then there's this one woman that does get pregnant.
Oh, interesting.
And so they have to move her for some reason. That's like the premise of the movie.
That's weird.
Is them moving her.
But in this, so like he's trying to figure out what happened, but also get to his girlfriend who lives in Australia. But the thing is, I mean, like, how many airline pilots are women? How many boat captains are women? Like now, you know? And so it just, things kind of get weird. And like suddenly the Minister of Agriculture becomes the president of the United States because she's the highest ranked female in the succession of presidency. And like, it just deals, like, it could very easily turn into one of those like, dumb fan service like, well, I'm the only dude left in the world, gotta repopulate the species, boop-a-doo, or whatever. But
I love boop-a-dooing.
Oh, I was saying boop-a-doo. But
I know, but if he says boop-a-doo, he's probably boop-a-dooing.
Oh, of course. But it doesn't turn into that. It explores some really, really cool stuff. Like, there's a group of traveling, theater players that put on plays and travel from city to city, trying to lift people's spirits and provide art and culture to people. And then there's a group of women who think that this whole thing is a judgment from God and that it's their duty to make sure that the world is, you know, moves past the patriarchy and blah 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 blah. And then there's people who are like, listen, I just want to not feel sad anymore, and it's really, really cool.
Is there anyone concerned with like the entire human race dying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they do. Okay. There's a lot of that. Because
I feel like that should be the number one concern.
Yeah, and they do. They talk about that as well, and it's really interesting. But it's really good. But then the reason why I brought that up is because Saga, which I think you'd actually like better. I mean, Why the Last Man's great, but Saga is really cool. It's written by the same guy, Brian K. Vaughan, and it's told, it's a very simplistic, almost like, star-crossed lovers story where it's like this woman from this one planet falls in love with this guy from another planet, and they're always they've been at war forever, and it's been a pretty bloody conflict, and they've come together and have a child and are trying to escape these other beings that are chasing them, and it's so good. It's really, really amazing.
Okay.
One of my favorite graphic novels. It's ongoing though, so it's not done. You can't binge them, but their production's pretty slow. It's like one every 2 or 3 months, but it's
well, you
super
could binge
worth
up
it.
until now, right?
Mm-hmm. I think there's quite a few volumes out, but it's gorgeous. The art is beautiful. The art is so beautiful. And the story itself is, I mean, Brian K. Vaughan is I believe, one of the best comic book writers out there.
Well, he should have done this Futurama episode.
He should have. You
Sorry,
know what?
Matt Groening. I feel like if he ever listens to this, because I know he definitely will, he'll be so sad.
It'd be very, very sad. Sorry, man.
Sorry,
bro.
Sorry.
Well,
What are we gonna do now?
I think that's it. I think we're just doing plugs.
Okay. I plug us. We are Kayla and Josh, and we never tweet because the Twitter is under Josh's control, and therefore nothing ever gets posted.
Like, of course,
so
nothing is.
Look forward to that.
Nothing's happening. Like, I mean, when we start having things to tweet about, I'll tweet
stop
about
getting
it.
in the way of me giving you a bad time.
Josh is bad, and he should feel bad. Oh, that's one thing that I love about this episode. Is
that I hate it and you love it?
No, that's where we get the "your blank is bad and you should feel bad" meme from Zoidberg.
Oh, what does he say?
Well, in the show, they're sitting, and it's when Fry gets his normal hands back, and his music turns all crappy, and Zoidberg yells from the audience, "Your music is bad and you should feel bad." And so, like, that has been taken and put in GIFs, and it's like, "Your blank," and then they put in whatever they want to talk about. "Your blank is bad and you should feel bad."
Your interneting is bad.
Mm-hmm.
Your tweeting is bad, and you should feel bad.
You know what? I should, but I don't.
Aww.
You can do it if you want to. I've given you the passwords and stuff, haven't I?
No.
Oh.
No.
Well, then I will.
I'm gonna tweet,
will.
and the first thing I'm gonna tweet is
Josh's big old dumpus. He's a bad
well, not
Twitterer.
anymore.
Ha! Preempted.
Something good. It's gonna be something good.
It's gonna be biting, and I'll cry myself to sleep.
You just cry and cry. So we are on Twitter at podcast underscore.
No.
Nope. No underscores. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me about things.
Now who's bad at words on the internet?
I was always the one that was bad at words because I was the only one drinking.
The Twitter is podcast the musical. No, dang it! Gosh, I'm bad as well.
Podcast musical at podcast musical
at podcast musical. Ugh. And then search
no
Facebook.
No spaces, no underscores. Podcast musical, one word. Get hopefully you can.
From all of this nonsense.
On Facebook, what
episode, are we? On Facebook, I don't even know.
This
Just
episode
search.
is a cluster F. I
It
tell
is
you what.
A big old donkey punch.
Danky punch.
Danky Kang punch. If it's, you just search podcast the musical on the
Search.
Facebox.
Because we know that's what you're doing anyway. No one's gonna, type it in the URL.
Yeah, for real. It's like, https://www.facebook.com/podcastmusical.ref equals bookmarks.
If you wanna, for some reason, follow my tweets, they're very enlightening. I'm at VixKayla.
If you want to follow,
if
you want to follow my tweets, you don't.
Don't. He never does anything.
I never do anything.
If you want to follow silence, if you want to follow the sound of silence, follow Josh.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Yeah, if you want to, I guess. Don't do it. Don't do it. You don't want to. Who cares? Twitter.
But follow me.
Sure, follow Kayla.
I tweet about politics.
Throw Kayla your tweets and your subscriptions.
And yo shade. Throw me yo shade. That's a good thing, right? Shade?
I don't know.
I know it's not. I know it's not because I know about shade because that was like a 2009 word.
I'm looking it up.
Throwing shade?
Yes.
Throwing shade is not a positive thing.
Well,
I will tell you right now. I will be your Urban Dictionary and tell you throwing shade is not positive.
It is to throw attitude.
Mm-hmm.
I was all up in the club.
But you can throw
throwing
shade at me. I'll throw
night.
shade at you back. It'll be like a game.
Yeah. This is the worst episode. I'm so like I feel like this is the episode where people are going to listen to it and like, "Oh, okay." So they just let
Never mind.
They just let anybody do podcasts now? Like just anybody can do a podcast.
Anybody with a microphone can just do things.
Just do that.
Okay. Guess this is our world. Now.
Unsubscribe. Hopefully
we didn't want you anyway.
Yeah, we don't want you. Hopefully we've hooked them in with the first two. They're like, oh, maybe this is just an off episode.
Or maybe they like curmudgeonly attitudes and
maybe, I hope. Next episode,
off-kilter humor.
I make this vow. Thus I vow. The next.
Oh no! What are you gonna do? I'm worried.
You don't have to be so scared. The next episode, we are going to do a review of an episode of a show that we both like.
Oh, yes, we did agree to this. Yes, we're gonna both like the next episode. It will be very positive. In fact, it's just gonna sicken you with positivity.
Mm-hmm. You'll want to throw up in your mouth. No, you won't. Yeah. You won't want to, but you will. We're just
usually that's the opposite of how people say that.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be so saccharine. You'll have to go get yourself checked for diabetes.
Yep. Saccharine. These are the words we use in this podcast. Good luck, everyone.
I feel like we don't have any, like, I'm not being too, I'm not, see, I can't even make a point about making a point. Like, I said the word saccharine, but I had to look up throwing shade.
But I feel like the person who knows the word saccharine, the Venn diagram of the person who knows the word saccharine is a circle, and the Venn diagram of the person who knows the word throwing shade is also a circle. They are very far apart from each other.
I guess. I just want to know all the words, Kayla. I just want to know all of them.
Well, now you know throwing shade, so you're one step closer. Chill.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'll stop being a whiner about it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye. Gosh dang it.
No, we love you. We're happy. We're happy. We're happy to sing with me, Josh.
I'm sorry. So happy.
We're happy. We're happy together. We did a review of a
sing
show
a
that we
song
don't
for
like,
everyone.
but it's
It's
okay
because
you'll
everyone
listen
loves
again.
you too.
Everyone loves the musical Twilight.
Hey everybody, just jumping in here to say that for the next episode, we're going to be reviewing Season 1, Episode 25 of Batman the Brave and the Bold, Mayhem of the Music Meister. But me and Kayla and a special guest are going to be live reviewing it. We're going to watch it and review it at the same time. You're welcome to join us, or you can watch it now and then just skip to the part of the episode where we review it. Hope to see you next time. Bye.